Pursuit of victory, pursuit of victory, pursuit of victory. Life ain't no mystery. Read up on history. Taking all these concepts, don't take it out of context, but pursuit of victory. Yeah.
So, welcome everybody to the second episode of the P.O.V podcast. This is your host, victorywarui, always victorious in everything that I choose to do. So, before we get into the show, honestly, I just want to say thank you to everybody that watched the first episode. Whether you liked it, whether you shared it, whether you commented, whether you subscribed. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And something that I want to share with you guys is just like, sometimes when you want to do something, whether it's whatever you want to pursue, music, art, going to college, whatever the case may be, you tend to have this self-doubt and these thoughts that aren't really going to happen, well, at least the way you think, because, I had, like, self-doubt kind of, like, are people, like, going to mess with it? Are they not? Are they going to get my perspective? But at the end of the day, those thoughts, like, they're going to exist since you're a human being and you're not perfect. But you shouldn't let those thoughts stop you from doing anything you want to do. So I just want to share that quick and just say thank you from the bottom of my heart and just keep supporting. And time again I'll say it, just make sure you subscribe, comment. As far as comments, I mean, just like you can comment in general, but like please leave any topics you want me to talk about in future episodes. Because it's just, I'm trying to keep this like topics to be like talking about things that people don't necessarily like talk about, or I don't mind talking about things that people have talked about already, but just I'm an open space to just throw me ideas, I don't mind that. So that being said, thank you, and just make sure you do that. So that being said, the quote of the day today is, looks can be deceiving. Actually one of my favorite quotes, to be honest, because reason being, like, a lot of us, we fall into the trap of looking at things as how they are versus what they, I messed up, but like, we look at things the way they appear versus what they actually are. And some examples of that is, I'm sure everybody has had this interaction where you see like a pretty girl or something, or, a woman sees like, a handsome guy or whatever, and you go and you have an interaction and you're like, damn, personality is trash, you know what I mean? They're disinteresting, they're cocky instead of being confident, whatever the case may be. So, just those things, like learning that what you see is not what you always get. This kind of, mirrors that quote also, that don't judge a book by its cover, because you never know what's underneath those pages. It could actually be something that you're into. Even if you look at food, for example, like, this is just an example, but certain people might look at sushi and be like, yo, that looks kind of weird, I don't know if I want to eat that, but then you eat it, and then you're like, damn, like, this is bomb. And again, it's one of those things, if you just went off of looks, maybe you might not have that experience of like, yo, maybe now you love sushi. So, just want to give you that, and I hope that quote is inspiring you in anything you want to do. So let's get into this episode. So the first thing that I want to talk about, first of all, is reading. I feel like reading, honestly, is so slept on amongst other things. And reason being that, like, a lot of people, when they think about reading, their only introduction into reading, or only time that they've ever done reading, is when you go to school and you have to, like, read about this book and write an essay about what you think about it, and you have those questions that are asking you, what did you think, why did this character do this? And that's cool and all, but I feel like maybe if they approached it in the sense of like reading what pertains to you, I think a lot more people would be interested, because people having that first aspect that I talk about, they forget that there's books literally on anything that you're into. Whatever interests you, whatever you want to do, whatever places you want to go, whatever things you want to do, there's a book out there for it. So, just an example, there's a book about cooking, books about sex, books about fighting, martial arts, cinematography, I don't know, places to travel to and stuff to check out. Because even if you look at even the aspect of like traveling, you know, which I want to work on because I haven't really traveled much, but you know, everyone likes to travel, but you know, more people should spend time like, you know, get a book on, you know, let's say it's Jamaica, you read a book out of Jamaica, you know, you read the history of Jamaica, even if it may be, you know, because you're interested in that. And then now when you get to Jamaica, you'll know the places to go, the food to eat, you know, the sites to visit, you know what I'm saying? Even like the language, figuring out different stuff like how to say it, the currency. So people never think about it like that, but you can make anything fun in the world. It doesn't always have to be the turn up shit, the smoking, the drinking. Those have their places, and like that's not the only thing that's fun in life. The thing is, like, reading, you have to have a certain mindset when you're coming into it. If you're just reading, I guess, what people want you to read, then maybe you won't enjoy it, because I guess the way I look at it is start reading off of what things that you're interested into, and then once you start getting more into that, you'll have the curiosity. All right, let me try this book about cooking. Let me try this book about, you know, traveling. Let me try this book about filmography. Let me try this book about like sex positions, whatever. But people don't think about it. But it's like a library. A library has all types of books, but people just think there's only one section. So, just like I said, have your mind expanded, and the way to do that, I feel like, is reading. There's also other ways, but reading is one of them. And also, people don't realize that when you read, you're gonna take in new vocabulary. You're gonna learn new words. These are words that you can use in your everyday life. You know, like you have literally people who say they make music or they do art, but you know, the way I look at it is like, if those people read more, especially like musicians, you have a wider vocabulary to use and really be able to articulate what you're trying to say and really express yourself in all types of forms. You know what I'm saying? And I think that reading is a way to do that, but people don't think about it in that aspect, because when they're introduced into reading, or what they know about reading is just so tiny. Like I had one person, you know, this back in the day, I'm not going to say any names, but you know, I talk about a book about Marcus Garvey, and they were like, "You're reading?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they were like, "You're reading?" You know, they were looking at me funny because I'm reading a book. You know, like I'm actually trying to, you know, be on my intellectual shit. You know what I mean? Because that's dope. I mean, duh. You know. So I was just looking at this person. I'm like, "Bro, you legit sound like a slave. Like, what the heck?" And then on top of this, even particularly pertaining to black people, it's like there was a time that reading was banned. Why do you think they were trying to ban us from reading? It's obviously because if you read a book, you're going to be able to gain knowledge, and you can change the certain circumstances that you're in. Can you imagine if slaves could read like the situations that they'd be able to get themselves out of, and their mindset? They'd be able to be like, literally, bro, I'm out. Like, you know what I'm saying? So just think about it like that. Like, reading is fundamental, but what Eddie Griffin taught me is reading is fundamental. The last thing that I'll say about it is, it's good to exercise your body, but people forget that it's also good to exercise your mind. So just think about it in that sense, you know? It's amazing to do that, and just, you know, like, get into reading, give it a try, and you never know if you, like, never try with anything, so just try that. Oh, I forgot to mention this in it, but I forgot to give you my recommendation. So I switched the segment up a little bit. It's gonna be recommendations as far as books, interviews, movies, and documentaries. See, you got it. But that's what it's gonna be, just cause originally it was just gonna be books, but I figured like, yo, let me expand on that so I can cater to more people, because books is not the only thing I'm into. I'm into movies, I'm into documentaries, I'm into interviews. So I'm gonna have a wide variety of things, but the movie of the day to watch is Baraka. Again, the movie is Baraka, Baraka. It's a movie that I found on Netflix. I saw it from, you know, I got it through watching this interview, interestingly enough, and the dude was playing in the background. Ended up searching, and I found it by myself. I don't know how much it's on YouTube, but it's not that pricey. Like, it's something you can buy on there and watch. I have it purchased. The writer and producer is Ron Frick. There's other, you know, directors and stuff, but Ron Frick's the guy who directed it. It's this dope film. There's no dialogue really. It's just more visual. Like it's dope. And when you watch it, it's gonna start off slow, but if you are are watching it and you give it time, you'll really start to get into it. It's filmed in 24 countries and in 6 continents, so it's just a dope movie to check out. I've told some of my friends to check it out. I put on my really one of my best friends, Isaiah, and he really liked it. So just if you have a chance, especially during quarantine, none of you guys are really doing anything like that. I'm not saying you don't have any lives or anything, but a lot of us are bored, so go check it out. The movie against Baraka. So with that being said, let's go back into our topics. The next topic I want to talk about is spirituality. Spirituality for me, this is just my experience. There's so many benefits that people don't think about. One being that with spirituality, you learn how to tune out the world and tune into yourself. Because in our everyday life, there's so many distractions, whether it's like you're going to school, you have a job and you're working 40 hours a week, you have kids that you have to take care of, you have bills that you have to pay, you have like places you want to get to or whatever. But with all these obligations with spirituality, you learn that you have to have a time of the day, whether it's 1 hour, 2 hours, where you tap in and you go inside and you look for answers, figure out what you want to detach from, whether it's like places, things, people, the things that you're trying to attract into your life, whether it's people as well, going to different environments and all of that, and tapping into a certain mindset. So I think that's one of the benefits. With spirituality, also the thing that I like, it's this thing I feel like where religion is like you're following somebody, whereas spirituality, you have to learn to be a leader and figure out things on your own. So there's no thing telling you this is the time you're gonna pray, these are the commandments that you have to follow, whatever. With spirituality, you like learn, like, because at the end of the day, it's like following God. Like when you're doing something right and when you're doing something wrong. You know what I mean? I don't think you need a higher power to tell you that. Just off the bat, when you do something, you can feel like, damn, like I fucked this person over, or I did this, whatever. Or when you do good things, they come back to you. So karma, there's so many aspects of spirituality. Another thing is facing your own demons. So being the factor that with spirituality, you learn that heaven and hell are a mind state and they're not places that you go to. So I got this more from like Tupac, but what he said I found to be very spiritual. But he was talking about how heaven is when you have your riches, when you get into the bag, when family's eating good, you're getting all the things that you want, just pretty much like life is going good. And then hell is the opposite of that. You're having a lot of obstacles come your way, you're not able to pay your bills, the things and places that you want to get to in life, they're not happening for you, and you feel defeated. So you see that's more about mindset, because once you tap into your mind, you can really do anything, to be honest. And it's gonna sound corny, but I swear to God, the corniest shit be true. So that's just how I like about it, is just like you have to take accountability for your actions. Like literally with spirituality, the one thing that it taught me is that I can sit here and blame this person or that person for like my behavior or why I did certain things, but at the end of the day, it comes down to me, like, yo, what can I do to get myself out of this situation, or how can I not have that situation happen again? So that's the one thing I like about it, is like you learn to take accountability for yourself, and also like another thing is, I think with spirituality, the thing it's taught me is to thank myself, because a lot of the time, and maybe a lot of people won't agree with this, but again, I'm just expressing how I feel, but it's good to thank God, because he helps you out through it in your everyday life. He blesses you, he opens up doors, but at the same time, it's also good to thank yourself, because after prayer, what comes? Action. So you pray for something, and then you go on the fact of like actually doing out what you set out, what you want to do. Because the way I look at it is, a lot of people will pray for like, yo, God, give me this job, whatever, but then they'll get mad that they're not getting a job. And it's like, but did you go out and like fill out these applications, were you calling these jobs, asking like, you know, like how far is my application, like how far has it gone, you know what I mean? Are you asking people if you can put them for your recommendations, whatever? So after prayer comes action, you know. And with spirituality, everybody has a different journey. Not everyone has the same exact experience, or as far as like coming into spirituality. Some people have come from religion, some people have come from, you know, being an atheist or whatever. But that's a beautiful thing. You meet all these different people, and it's just amazing as far as their journey, you know, like how they were able to connect it. And the last thing, I guess, the last two things I wanted to say with spirituality is you really learn that like everything is connected in your life, you know. And you know, like, you know, just this, for example, like the food that I eat is going to determine the way that I think and the way that I feel. And when I'm interacting with people, that's going to determine my mood at the end of the day. Because if you're hanging around positive people, you're going to feel positive. Or if you're hanging out around people that are smarter than you, it's going to want to get you to, you know, become even smarter or whatever. But if you're hanging out with people who are giving out low vibrational energy, you're going to get that in your life one way or the other, even if you don't want to, because you wonder why. Like, have you ever been in a group and, you know, vibes are going good, and then someone steps in and you don't know how to explain it, but like the person basically kills off the vibe because their aura is just, you know, beaming out with negative energy, and nobody's trying to catch that, you know. So just understanding that, as far as like spirituality, like that's something that has really helped me. And I just think it's something that I think like people should be more open-minded as far as, you know, trying it. Because that's the difference, is I talk about like spirituality, but I don't go forcing it, telling people, bro, you better meditate, you better take these crystals, whatever, you better understand energy. Like, you know, I don't do that. I just give my experience. And if you have any questions, whatever, then yeah, I'll give you more information. And I don't know everything, but I can only tell you my experience and maybe like things to try, whatever. But that's the beautiful thing about it. There's no like somebody's pushing spirituality on you, because literally from people that I've met, I haven't seen people who push like spirituality, but I have seen people who push their religion. And that's the difference. And it's not to say that everybody who's religious is like that, but I'm just saying the people that I've met, a lot of them have been like that. And then also the last thing as far as pertaining to spirituality is meditation. So with meditation, a lot of people think that you're supposed to like meditate and like you're not gonna have any thoughts, and it's supposed to be this calm mindset, and that's not it. My thing of it would be that when you meditate, it's just about centering yourself. And that's not to say you're not gonna have these random thoughts coming in, which they call the monkey mind. It's just more about like, if this thought comes, realizing that I'm like focusing on this thought, and then just bringing back myself to my center point. If this thought comes, bringing back myself to that center point. If this thought comes, bringing myself to that center point. And the more and more you do that, the better and better you'll get at it. And also setting like little goals, because like me, I started out with like 5 to 10 minutes. Usually I'm good on that. Like I can do maybe 5 to 10 minutes of meditation, but having a goal set of that, like I want to reach the point of being able to do like 30 minutes. And even if it's not all together, maybe spreading it out, maybe doing 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the afternoon, and then 10 minutes before I go to sleep. And one thing is, I can't promise you, because again, this was my experience, but meditation, I just feel like after you meditate, you're just more aware of your external environments, how you feel internally. You notice interactions, with people, as far as like you learn to see like, yo, who's bringing some positivity in your life, who's negative and you need to distance yourself from, what environments to go to, what environments not to go to. And I think with spirituality, it's one of those things. The beautiful thing about it is you can connect it to your everyday life, whatever it is. So just like me, what I used to do is like, before going into work, you know what I mean, just doing like a quick meditation before I go to work, like as far as like stepping in and just having a clear mindset. And you know, also learning the factor that like whatever happens throughout the day, not letting it affect me, because at the end of the day, like, you're gonna have ups and downs in life, but it's all about your mindset at the end of the day, you know what I mean? So like I said, I like spirituality because just there's so many benefits from it, and you know, it's just like one of those things where I think for a lot of people who do try it out, you don't even have to say you're exactly spiritual, but there's a lot of things you can take from it and just apply it to your everyday life, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's it as far as spirituality. The next topic we're going to talk about is relationships. So I think that relationships are good to have, you know what I mean? It's obviously good to meet someone that you want to, you know, whether it's, you know, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, you know, somebody you want to marry eventually and spend the rest of your life, whatever you're into, you know, because there's different types of relationships. But, you know, everyone knows the good aspects of a relationship. I'm just going to talk about the other side. And I think a lot of people are quick to jump into relationships, but they're not ready to have or trying to have a relationship with themselves at first. And that's the most important relationship that you could have, because if you think about it, who's going to love you like you love yourself? Nobody. I mean, people will love you, but it's just not the same way like you know what I'm saying? Like, and also learning to love your flaws. Not to say that you can't work on them, but you gotta love your flaws anyway. Like, as far as like, there's gonna be things that about you that you can't change yourself, so why not accept it and get over it? Because it's just like, you know what I mean? Like, even if you change yourself, like, you know, like how people do surgeries and all these things, you still will never be satisfied. So be satisfied what you have. The things that you can't change those things. But the things that you can change, just, you know what I mean? Like, look at it that, oh, it's unique what I have here, you know? So as far as that, I think, like, people don't give them enough themselves time to have a relationship with themselves, to love themselves, and once you do that and you have your space to just be by yourself and be okay being alone, and being alone really is just you being okay being by yourself, and, you know, having good company by your side, which is you. That's the best company that you could have, is you first. Because then now when you go into, like, this is why, like, people that are connected to themselves and really understand themselves, when they go out to a certain group, people will, I mean, I'm not saying you're trying to go out there to for people to like you, but, like, there's a reason why you meet certain people and you're like, damn, like, that person, like, I like their energy, I like what they bring forward towards this group, whatever, or they make me think different, whatever the case is, because they truly understand themselves. They're not ashamed, and they don't care what people think about themselves, you know what I mean? Or, no, they don't care what other people think about them. Because also with a lot of relationships too as well, like, a lot of people will, you know, lower their standards because they want to be with this person. So you should learn that there's nothing wrong with having standards that are high, but obviously, like, you're not gonna get everything you want. I mean, there's always gonna be something you don't like about this person. The question though is just, are you able to accept them for who they truly are? You know, because that's the best form of love. Loving somebody for who they truly are, not the idea of you being, or the idea you have of them. So I think it's just really important to have a relationship with yourself. And on top of that, as far as relationships, I think that it's not healthy as far as relationship to be so dependent on a relationship. It's good to have a life outside of that relationship, you know what I mean? Like, you still need that time where you can, you know, be by yourself and be doing things. Like, yeah, you have your girlfriend or boyfriend or your wife or your husband, but, like, you also have to have that time where you can still spend time by yourself, and this person, it can let you do that. Because a lot of people in relationships become too jealous of just anybody, and I don't think that's healthy either. It's like, other people are allowed to interact with your significant other. Now, obviously, there's some people who they interact with your significant other and they have intentions, and I mean bad intentions, like they're trying to bag them, or they're trying to take them away from you, they're trying to make their move on the side. So I do think it's one of those things that, like, you should go up front and just give out your concerns. But at the end of the day, not everyone that interacts with your significant other is somebody who's trying to ruin your relationship, or whatever the case may be. And then also, like, not settling for, you know, just what's given to you all the time, but, like, really asking yourself before you step into a relationship, like, you know, giving the time for that relationship to flourish, and you also communicating things and asking yourself questions. Is this a person that I really want to spend the time with? Is this a person I really want to be my girlfriend? Is this a person I really am ready to like introduce my parents eventually when that's the case? And is this just somebody I'm comfortable with? But a lot of the times it's just that I don't want to be lonely, so I'm gonna be with this person even if I'm not happy. At least like I have somebody to cuddle with, I have somebody to be with, I have somebody to talk to. But at the end of the day, if you're not happy, why are you really there? But again, it goes back to like, I think a lot of people are not comfortable with being by themselves, and they don't want to be by themselves because they'd have to confront some issues they have with themselves, and that's hard to do a lot of times. I know for me it's been hard to do that, but the more and more comfortable I've gotten as far as like enjoying my single life, understanding myself and going through this journey, the more that I know that when I do get into a relationship, whenever that comes, because I'm not searching for that, like if it's gonna come, it's gonna come, because I'm in the mindset of that, like with or without a woman, I'm good at the end of the day because I have a relationship with myself. And same thing with women, like with or without a man, you should be good at the end of the day. It shouldn't be this thing that like this person, like, you know what I mean, you make it seem like without them you couldn't live, whatever, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't think that's healthy to think thoughts like that. And then also, like, a lot of the times now you see that when you do become too dependent on a relationship and things do end, because you became so dependent on that or so comfortable, because that's another thing, I don't think you should ever get comfortable, because people are changing every day, they're evolving. The same way they viewed you yesterday is not how they view you today. They get sick and tired of certain things, whatever the case may be. So just like not being comfortable, and to the point that like now when you do leave that relationship, this is how I look at it. You had somebody that loved you. Maybe you didn't love yourself the way that person loved you, and that can only last so long. So once that thing ends, it's like, where are you gonna get that love that you were receiving from this person? And it would make sense that you should have had that with yourself, so that when you're going through this process of that you're not with this person, you're like, yo, I still have these things that I could do as far as like a distraction to get yourself away from thinking about that person, because when it's over, it's over, you know. And it's just about moving on, and you know what I mean, really working on yourself so that when you go into your next relationship, you don't bring baggage from your previous relationship, because that's not something I want to do. I don't think it's really fair if I don't give myself time to really let myself heal, so that when I go into the next relationship, now I'm having fits about things that happened in my previous relationship, but that wouldn't happen if I took the time out to work on myself. And a lot of people, I just hate to say it, but they don't want to work on themselves. They just always want to hop into the next relationship. But it's like you're fiending too much, you know. Chill, relax, get to know yourself, and enjoy the single life. Because also there's like a stigma of that, you know, being single is like not cool or whatever, or like, I wish I had someone to whatever. And it's like, damn, but you don't enjoy your own company. Like, why don't you take yourself out on a date? Why don't you go to the movies? Why don't you take a walk? Why don't you go to the beach by yourself? These are things I know, for example, that like if you say to people, they're gonna think that's weird. But like I said, it's really weird that you don't have a relationship with yourself, or you're not trying to have a relationship with yourself. But then when you meet someone else, you're automatically ready to just give yourself off to them. And then I want to even take it to this aspect, but as far as even going into sex, it's one of those things where like sex is a very sacred thing, and people have to start treating themselves like they're a temple, and that they care who enters their temple. You know what I'm saying? Because when you just let anybody enter your temple, you also gain their energy. Because the way that I think about it is that whoever you let into your life, not even just as far as sex, but I guess pertaining to sex, it's one of those things. Someone is either gonna drain the hell out of you, or they're gonna boost you the hell up, and you just feel better about yourself. You want to accomplish stuff, you know, just like high vibration all day or low vibration. And that's how you have to think about it. And then also pertaining to sex is the fact that a lot of people have these fights or things aren't going right in the relationship, and they'll have sex and thinks that it's gonna solve everything, but it doesn't. It takes care of it in that moment. I don't even want to say it takes care, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a solution that people think that works, but it doesn't really. It's a solution for that moment. But after that, if you think about it, those problems are still lingering in the relationship. You wonder why these same problems that you're having just keep coming up. It's because you're not talking about it and you're not disclosing how you feel exactly. And then a lot of people too, what they end up doing is they just agree to agree because they don't really want to talk about it. And you know what I mean? They don't want to be confrontational with a person. But the way I look at it is, talk about your problems with your other half, or whatever you want to call it, and really try to resolve things out. And even if it gets to the point, because you're not going to agree on everything, but like, even if you get to the point where it's like you agree to disagree, now when you do have sex, it's going to be much more meaningful, and you're not going to feel like, you know what I'm saying, it's one of those things where like it's draining you. It's actually going to boost you up, and you guys are going to feel good, and it's going to affect you in other aspects of your relationship. Like, you guys are actually going to be happier because you talked about your problems. Because I don't think it's healthy to always be fighting with your significant other. It shouldn't be like that. But that's something that people kind of, it's like, yo, fights are gonna happen and all that, arguments. I don't mean physical fights, but I'm just saying, like, as far as like arguments and stuff are gonna happen, jealousy, all that. But this is why people need to communicate. A lot of people in relationships do not communicate. That's one thing that I learned, like, I was weak at, and I had to learn that, like, I need to really start communicating how I feel about certain situations, and not just like holding it in and trying to get over it. No, like, state that in that moment. Because also, like, I think another thing that both sides do is holding something in, and then when we have an argument, bringing up shit that happened months ago, and it's like, but that has nothing to do with the situation. And then also with relationship, because there's so much. I promise there's only a few more things, and then it's gonna be done. But another thing that I think that I'm tired of people doing or seeing, as far as men do, and I'll go into the women too, but, you know, with a lot of men, it's like there's this thing, we'll purchase like a girl something, and if a relationship goes left, or if it doesn't work out or whatever, oh, I want my stuff back. And then it's like, it just goes to show that you feel entitled because you bought that, when at the end of the day, it's like, I thought like you bought that because you love that chick or you really cared about her. If that's how you really felt at the end of the day, even if things don't work out, no, I'm not gonna ask for that back. It's like, I bought that for her and that's hers, you know? But we really gotta start doing that as men. It's not like having feeling entitled because you bought something, because that just showed me that you bought it and you have expectations now because you bought something, right? It should just be like you bought it out of love, or you care for this person and you're actually trying to help them. And then as far as women, the one thing I would say with women is that women have to really start taking more accountability. I can't tell you how many times I'm just sick of women always acting like everything that they do in a relationship is right, that they're never wrong. Like, even if you look at cheating, whatever, it's like this whole thing of, you know, men cheat, but women cheat too. Like, you know what I mean? How come nobody is ever talking about that side? Nobody talks about that side. It's just always like, oh, men cheat. Women cheat too. It's just, y'all are better at hiding it. Like, let's just be honest, you know? But you guys really have to start taking accountability. And even when you say things like oh, I did everything right and you still cheated. Really? You did everything right? You mean to tell me you were a whole angel through that relationship? There's nothing you did wrong, whatever. So just think about it that way, because I see a lot of women always, because this is what I'm tired of. Like, you're a grown-ass woman. Take accountability for what things that you did in the relationship, and don't play victim all the time, because I see a lot of women doing that, just always playing victim and never even thinking about, like, maybe it's me. Like, you guys are always going for the same. I'm not saying this is not all women, but always going for the same men and then having like a different expectation. Like, all you're always going for is players. All you're always going for is dudes who are 6 feet. Why not try something new? I'll give you a quote just, you know, to even put more emphasis on what I'm saying. But, like, they say that insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different expectation. Or, no, they say that insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. And I see a lot of you do that. And then men as well too. But as far as accountability, I see women doing this thing where, you know, like you guys say you want to be equal, but you don't want to take equal accountability. And I think that's really like unfair to say that you want equality, but you don't want equal accountability. So again, just think about what I said. But, you know, that's just my thing as far as being in relationships. Love yourself. Really get to know yourself before you get into a relationship. Really know what you're looking for and be open-minded as far as dating or, you know, talking to different people. But don't be going to the same people on both sides, men and women, and then expecting a different result. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just be open-minded as far as relationship. And also not having too many fantasies, because I see a lot of people, you know, they want like that love and basketball type of relationship, and it's like you're expecting too much. Like, you shouldn't go into relationship with expectations. At first is you just see like, let's see where this goes. But when you're having all of that, you wonder why you can't get a man. You wonder why you can't keep a woman. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just like think about that. And I think that's been my journey so far. It's just giving myself time to really have a relationship with Victor and understanding all aspects of myself. Because the thing is, like, when you take the time to figure out yourself, when you do meet someone else, like, you guys are going to be able to build better because you're at your highest peak, whatever. Or if you do know your weaknesses, that person can help you, like, bring you up. But as far as relationships, that's all I want to say. Hope you enjoyed the show. Like, subscribe, comment, share. There's going to be more guests coming. I don't know when, to be honest, because of this whole owner situation, but I have people lined up that are going to come. We're going to chop it up. We're going to have high vibrations, none of that low shit. Get that low shit out of here. With that being said, you know, I just enjoyed speaking to you guys. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Check out the first episode if you haven't. Follow me on Instagram at victorywarui and Snapchat at exhalegreens. Again, my IG is victorywarui, and Snapchat is exhalegreens. More episodes coming soon, and I will let you guys know as far as when I'll be dropping the episodes. But with that being said, peace.